On the Appalachian Defense Group, aka the outdoor boys we have at home. I'm gonna be going out in the woods, just messing around. I'm gonna make some charcloth, or at least experiment with making charcloth. You know, maybe see a bear or a deer or something. It should be in season. Yeah. See one, I'll bag it, but you know, I'm not going out there with the intent of doing so. Make some steaks for dinner, hang out. The difference between camping and glamping is anytime you have hot food. If it's cold food, then it's camping. My setup is pretty simple. I got a LBT split rig, bunch of mags, bunch of BS, gloves, bow fang, etc. Running a BCM Recce 15 with a piggyback ACOG RMR combo. Sawyer water filters, and the old mystery ranch mountain ruck, which I always say it's too big, but then I throw all the shit in it that I need to do all the admin and camera shit and all that jazz, and it's always overloaded, so that's cool. I'm gonna get out in the woods. Hopefully it's not too far of a walk. Up here in the mountains of North Georgia, dusk is about 6 p.m. It's 4:40 now, which means I've got about an hour before it gets completely dark out here, because in the mountains, it gets dark a little bit earlier than it does in the valleys. So let's get moving. I've only been walking for about a quarter mile, no, half mile, and I'm smoked. I don't know if you can see. Half mile, I've had a 300-foot elevation gain. This mountain's a bitch. I should have debloused, but we're gonna keep on going. Well, we finally made it to the top. I'm gonna camp on the ridge, not in the military crest, which is advisable, but we're not in a tactical situation. I'm just LARPing. Half a mile trail up my mountain. I call it the smoker, but half a mile we had, one sec, my Garmin wake up. Come on. About 400 feet of elevation. Just about. There she is. Ooh, 400 feet of elevation in a half mile. That's pretty rough. I certainly had worse. Sapper Hill comes to mind. I don't think it was that high though. Anyway, definitely a really quick way to get your heart rate up and get a quick sweat on. Is it a full-blown workout? No. Is it the same as hiking 8 miles in the AT? No. But there's not a whole lot of places you get that much elevation gain that fast. So, whew. I'm gonna deblouse, cool off a bit, and then we're gonna set up our campsite. But the view up here is gorgeous. Just surrounded by mountains. Surrounded by mountains. You can see the highlights of the sun bouncing off the fall colors in the distance. It is beautiful. Look at that sun peeking out. Hello, sun. We're retard maxing. A lot of oak trees around here. As the deer get hungry, they're gonna come up here, start eating all the acorns. Especially as it gets cold and they start running out of food. pretty good. I'll take it. I'll probably set up my tent right here, fire pit here. Already got a nice chair to sit on. Pretty exciting. Hopefully Skindog isn't out tonight. Come and get my bussy. I've got a Lightfighter tent. Fell off the old army truck. This is a great little tent if you're not in a tactical environment. Some people say that you can absolutely use them in a tactical environment. No, that's not how this works. You're not pulling 50-50 security if you're all cozy and snuggled up in your nice prefabricated tent. In reality, if you're in a life or death situation and mano a mano, people are hunting you or you're hunting them, you're sleeping in 50-50 security shifts. But it's pretty nice. The skeleton comes with these, basically it's pre-assembled. All you gotta do is pull it out of the pack, make sure all the stretchies are lined up with each other, and boom. Almost looks like an antenna you would use for long-range commo. We've got a base or our ground tarp around here somewhere. This is nice and dirty from our last use. I'm not gonna wash a fucking ground tarp. That's retarded. So go ahead and lay this sucker out where we want it. It's pretty neat. The whole system works off a male-female component. I don't know if you can see that, but male, female grommet, and basically the whole thing works by just slipping the grommets over the male end. So you end up with like 3 of these stacked on top of each other by the time you're done. Let's see how fast I can build this thing. Certainly God's country. It is absolutely gorgeous up here. It feels so good. Here's our main atrium. So what you do, it's on the ground generally, around where your ground tarp is. Grab your skeleton. And you start fucking flipping away. Female, male. Female, male. Female, male. Female, male. Same thing on the other side. It's going to feel like it's going to break, but it's not, I promise. I'm going to start bending it a little bit. Give it some stress. It's going to start taking form. We were issued these just as I was starting to get out. I think I saw my first one 2 years before I was leaving, which would have been 2018, 2019, somewhere in that range. But for non-tactical field ops, you know, when your command just hates you and wants you to go sleep out in the range because fuck you, we rented the barracks, but we're not going to let you use them because you guys aren't tough enough. We would take these out, and some of the guys would put these things on cots. I tried it once and I hated it because cots are just so freaking such a pain in the butt to use. At least the old school army cots we were playing around with. You see, we've already got it's already almost done. All we got to do is get the last few connections up. Just going to clip onto the skeleton here. All the way up the top. I am pretty sure the Army got this design from Big Agnes. One of my hiking buddies was telling me that a couple months ago, which makes sense. I mean, Big Agnes makes some incredibly good gear. And they either helped out the Army designing it, or they just ripped them off completely. Either way, I wouldn't be surprised. But these Lightfighters, they have one door on each side. Bug proof as long as you keep the doors closed. And then we've got the fly, which to me this is the hardest part, because I'm always on the go and I kind of just shove it in there and always forget which direction is which. Let's see if I can figure it out without taking up too much of your time. Now, this is glamping. Sure you remember that. If this was camping, we'd be in a hole covered with a tarp, eating cold food. Like I said earlier, the difference between camping and glamping is the temperature at which you consume your food. Camping, cold food. Glamping is hot food. Where's our last? Okay, here we go. Here we go. If there are any beasts up here, they are long gone by now. I'm making a ton of racket with the amount of dead leaves there are on the ground. But, boom. Clip our fly in. I think this is right. Appears to be so. Lift the sucker up. Hook her on. And there we go. Now, the fly is actually a little loose. That's intentional. That's so you can take your handy dandy tent stakes. Voila. And then get on this, hook it on this knot, pull it out relatively as far as it'll go, and then just drive it in the ground. And then what that allows you to do, it allows you to put your ruck and all your tactical equipment underneath the tent as well. It's pretty nifty. Let me get this other stake on the other side, but other than that, camp is set up. I'll take a look at the time after this, but that was 5 minutes. Can't beat that. Got a monster log here, or monster rock, and I'm going to use as the basis for my fire pit. See if I can get this bitch out of the ground. Oh. Woo! There's a big old rock right there. Pretty nice depression right here. One of these days I'll show a Dakota fire hole, but I pretty much just made one by doing that. But regardless, I'm gonna use this rock to dig this out a little bit. Oh yeah, that's a good hole right here. The soil up here is awesome. It is so nutrient dense. I think come spring, I'm gonna start planting some ish. Something I've always wanted to do is experiment with farming. But I'm gonna build my fire pit right here. Probably just gonna use some logs and rocks to do it, but that was a big rock. All right, I turned you guys around. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's getting dark really quick. Thankfully I'm at the ridge, so I'm getting a little bit more light than I would be if I was in the military crest. But I gotta get a fire going, like right now. If I don't, it's gonna be harder to do it when it's dark. So let me get that going. Behind me is my wood stash. I try and always get 2x more wood than I think I need, because I really don't like looking for firewood in the middle of the night, just in case I do need to restart that fire to get some extra light going in case something weird happens. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this puppy fired up. So, got my fire making kit right here. My favorite thing to use for starting fires is old reliable. You take lint from your clothes dryer at home and you cover it in Vaseline. It burns very quickly, but it also stays alight for a hot minute. So let's see if I can get this in one go. I'm just gonna use a lighter because I'm lazy. But start with your starter, then you go starter, twigs, sticks, limbs, in that order. Woo. Try and build a box as best as you can around the flame. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to just, depending on the type of fire you're building, you just want to slowly start making a little box slash teepee, whichever one you prefer, to catch these little twigs on fire. Pretty standard stuff. You guys have all done this before, right? Yeah, you have. You guys are all adventurers. You guys like being out in the woods, getting spooked by Skindog. And make sure it's got plenty of oxygen. If it doesn't have oxygen, it's gonna go out. All right, we got a light flame in here. Slowly start stacking and stacking. Try and keep it from getting smothered. Keep on adding. Start adding on the other side too, so we don't get a hot spot. Oh yeah, that's catching nice. I love the cotton ball method. It is so nice. It makes life so easy, and it's essentially free. Most people have dryer lint that they can reuse. It was just going to go in the trash anyway, right? And then Vaseline is a good piece of medical gear that pretty much everyone has. Alright, just got to start burning some of the roots. But not bad. Not bad at all. I'm going to go ahead and keep building this guy, but we have our fire. Tell y'all what, one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century was the headlamp. And yes, technically they existed in the 19th century, but those were phosphorus, I believe, and they tended to blow up, which having a bomb on your head that'll just go off when you're trying to dig coal is not the best way to go. But headlamps are sick, especially the red light variants. They're good for tactical environments, camping and glamping, but really nice to have. It makes you can still work with your hands and you know, see what you're doing. So there's that. All right, so I got my Sawyer hanging from the tree, doing its thing, filling up my Nalgene, which has seen better days. Easy enough. All right, so I haven't done this before, but I'm going to attempt to make charcloth. This is an old shirt that I got a couple years ago on vacation with my family. Sad to see it go, but it's got stains all over it, but it's 100% cotton. I'm going to rip this up into shreds. I'm going to put it in this green tea tin. I'm going to punch a couple holes in the tin and let air escape. Set on the fire, and I believe it's about 15 minutes for, you know, small amounts of cotton to turn into charcloth. It's kind of an experiment. I haven't done this before, so we'll see what happens. So I'm going to take my blade. Go ahead. Okay. A couple holes for oxygen to escape. I don't think you want it to get in though, so let's take a shirt. Just start cutting. This knife needs to get sharpened soon. Little strips about that big, see how that works. The point of charcloth is it's really easy to start fires with. That's how they used to do it in the Scottish Highlands. They would carry a flint and steel and some charcloth. And they would use a flint to strike the tinder, which was the charcloth. So, like this. This fire may not be hot enough for it, but let's see how she does. So, right in here. See how she does. I'm not going to breathe that smoke in while she cooks, because that's going to strip whatever paint that is off that green tea box. Alright, I think it's about time to pull the charcloth out and see how she does. Use a stick. It's gonna be hot as balls. Ooh-wee. Yeah, that paint just got stripped. All right, cool. Just gonna let this sit here for a few minutes and cool off, and then we'll open her up and see how she did. All right, the skirt steaks are turning out pretty nice. We got cooking up right here. Kind of hard to keep the temperature, you know, stable and consistent, but they're turning out pretty well. A little more well done than I'd want, but hey, it's steak, so who's gonna complain about that? But they're almost done. Can eat some peaches, eat the steak. I'm still hungry. I'll crush some beef jerky, and I've got what are those called? Mountain House. I've got a Mountain House biscuits and gravy. Ooh, the best Mountain House meal on the planet Earth is biscuits and gravy. If you guys ever get a chance to try it, you certainly should. It is S tier. Well, peaches and steak, always a good night. The fire, steak, peaches. An owl screeched, scared the daylights out of me. I had a full-blown adrenaline rush. heard plenty of owls before. I've never heard their like initial call. It was like a like super high pitched, and I was just like, we're gonna have to fight off this mountain. But he immediately started hooting after that. I was like, oh, it's just an owl. But still, anytime you hear something in the woods that you've never heard before, it's like, yeah, Skindog! It's Skindog! But all in all, pretty peaceful night. Just all right. One last thing before I rock out. I opened up the charcoal or charcloth container. Looking pretty good. That used to be a t-shirt. Let's see if it sparks up like they say it will. Look at that. I don't know if it's supposed to go a little faster. I mean, it's definitely enough to get a fire going. Super lightweight too. Might throw a couple more pieces in there and make some more. We'll see. All in all, pretty peaceful night. Just chilling by the fire. Probably gonna hang out here for a little. Excuse me. Hang out here for a little bit. Maybe smoke a reminisce, yearn, and then we're gonna rack out and go to bed. It's only about 7. It's been dark for 2 hours now. Thanks, daylight savings. But some nice ASMR for you. I will catch y'all later.